spiritual leader Sri Ravi Shankar is touring Europe, meeting political leaders and promoting
A worldwide spiritual leader says just follow the ways of Mahatma Gandhi. Take on hatred and killing through meditation, love, and understanding.
Art of Living, a course designed to teach people how to breathe.
More people are searching harder for inner peace these days. Would you agree?
Correct.
Ojalá podamos los colombianos abrazar pronto el principio gandiano de la no violencia. Coincidimos con el maestro Shankar.
Is historic. This is the first spiritual leader in the entire world publicly condemned from the bottom of his heart the act of the ISIS against the Yazidis minority.
Look at life from a broader perspective. See, life is so short. Another 50 years maximum, we won't be on this planet. We'll all be gone. Before we leave this planet, we want to leave a better society behind us. For those beautiful kids in whose eyes there are hope, in whose eyes you find dreams, they deserve a violence-free society, and it is our duty to give them a better world. More and more people, and we will not stop till the last gun is laid down. World peace is only possible with inner peace. The world is formed by individuals. Unless we find the inner peace among the individuals, world peace will remain a far-fetched dream. One who finds inner peace will only create peace around. It's pertinent that we recognize the inner peace of individual as the basic element to build unbroken families, harmonious society, prosperous nations, and a peaceful world.
What a rare honor and privilege to be sitting here today at the beginning of the inauguration, of the Glass House Festival of Poetry. It is indeed a time of celebration and joy when the great literary minds of the world come together on an online platform to share their creativity, beauty, and vision. Let us begin the 4-day extravaganza with today's inaugural talk by Sri Ravi Shankar ji. To lead us into this discussion, we have with us Dr. Jija Hari Singh. Dr. Jija Hari Singh is a well-known personality and the first woman IPS officer from Karnataka. She remained in service for about 4 decades before retirement as Director General of Police. She is also an artist of repute and recipient of the Indira Priyadarshini National Award for her contribution to the arts. She has held solo exhibitions in Washington, Wollongong, and New Delhi. Her work has also been exhibited in London, Vienna, Berlin, Jakarta, etc. Dr. Jija is presently the president of the Institute of Directors Bangalore chapter and the founder trustee of the Art Mantram Foundation, a not-for-profit trust that promotes Indian art and artists. And today's Art Mantrams Festival is being inaugurated by Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji. With these brief introductions of Jija, I hand over to Dr. Jija Harise.
Thank you, Lakshmi. It is a great honor that Padma Vibhushan Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji is with us today, and it is my privilege to introduce him very briefly. He has done so many things, and it is impossible for anybody even to compile them into one book. But I will try to give a small introduction in the 3 minutes which is allotted to me. Padma Vibhushan Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji is a globally renowned humanitarian leader and peacemaker, dedicating himself to placing human values at the center of relations between individuals and people. Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji has touched the lives of more than 550 million people around the world. Isn't it amazing? Resolving conflicts through dialogue and self-awareness, and teaching positive approaches to life by his own example of selfless service. But more than all that, he is a scholar, a thought leader, and he has written over 40 books, and as a poet has composed innumerable verses and poems. Today, most of his verses have been strung to music and are being sung in celebration by people of all nationalities all over the world. Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji is a great patron of the arts and culture, and believes that indigenous art, music, and dance forms have to be revived and protected. He has inspired mega cultural festivals involving millions of people all over the world. In 1981, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji established the Art of Living Foundation, one of the largest volunteer-based organizations in the world. And in 1997, he founded the International Association for Human Values. Present in 155 countries, these organizations serve millions of people across boundaries of religion, class, culture, and race through service projects and empowerment programs. Numerous honors have been bestowed on Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, including the highest civilian awards of Colombia, Mongolia, and Paraguay. In 2016, he was conferred with the Padma Vibhushan, the highest annual civilian award of our country, India. In the United States, he has received the International Humanitarian Award from the Simon Wiesenthal Center and the Award for Inspiring Humanity from the Foundation of California. He has also been conferred with 21 honorary doctorates from around universities around the world, and 26 cities have instituted a Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Day in their countries in his honor. Isn't it amazing? Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji has addressed the United Nations, the European Parliament, the World Economic Forum, the Israeli Presidential Conference, as well as many universities such as Harvard University, Stanford University, the Wharton School, and the University of Southern California. He is also engaged in peacemaking efforts internationally and in war-torn areas like Colombia and Iraq. He has created trauma relief programs for at-risk youth, war veterans, prisoners, and survivors of disasters, and healed millions of vulnerable people around the world with his programs. Yet, for all his contribution to the rest of the world, today, Sri Ravi Shankar ji is here to be one of us. It is my greatest honor and privilege as the managing trustee of Art Mantram to present Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, the writer, the artist, the scholar, the thought leader, the poet, today to you. Over to Yumna Hari Singh Java, the director of the festival, to give an overview of the festival for Guruji's benefit and also for the benefit of all the people who are assembled here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was a great handing point. We're very honored to have Sri Ravi Shankar here with us today. It is, I think, a perfect occasion to talk about what we intended to do with the festival. It was born in the middle of the lockdown when everybody was isolated, and as a way to reach out and to embrace the world. It also was created from the perspective of trying to raise funds for creative people who are out of work because of the economic shutdown, because we're not allowed to congregate in large numbers. So auditoriums are closed, places, routes to market are closed, and thus the festival was born. It grew from a very small idea of trying to reach out to one another into what is now a wonderful festival with over 105 speakers coming from all around the world. We're very pleased and proud that it has touched people's hearts and encouraged them to come together in this manner. I'd like to give you a quick overview of the festival, but before I do so, I'd like to let you know the principles behind it. The Poetry Festival was designed to be inclusive, to bring people together, to reach across divides, and to provide an opportunity for dialogue, creation, love, nurture, and solace. We cannot truly embrace that which we do not understand, and identity lies at the heart of the festival. Our sessions are designed to explore polarities and spaces of liminality, to look to the past, but not to carry its burdens into the future. Unfortunately, the times that we live in have seen attitudes hardening. My firm belief is that to be human is to err, but also to evolve continually. The ability to grow together, to transcend and build relationships strong enough to be rooted in values of caring, nurturing, and growth, with a particular focus on the margins and the dispossessed, is one that all of us need to manifest. The world we stand in today is at a nexus like none I have ever seen. The skies above Delhi were baby blue for days during the lockdown, and yet a complete stoppage of economic activity would bring suffering untold. It is to us to soften the edges we own that hurt other people, to realize that we are one world and to nurture it, all its species and ourselves, into the future that is unfolding. So I would like to quickly highlight the festival that we have put together. We've had this focus, as I mentioned, on the margins. So we have brought into the center voices of those who are Dalit, who are tribal, who identify themselves as queer. We talk about women at the center of the festival. We talk against the context of the protests that have happened across the world with the George Floyd murder. We talk about the Black arts movement, from the Black arts to Black Lives Matter, and then into the future of the Black movement. We talk about the Native American nations that we see from outside as one, but who are made up of so many heterogeneous tribes, all of which celebrate their own culture. And we are proud to bring an anthology here that covers 300 years of their culture. More than that, to bring it closer to home, we are very proud to present voices of fantastic Indian poets from across the country, the length and the breadth. We have Jammu in the north, and we have Kerala in the south. We have Marathi to the west, and we have the northeastern Arunachal Pradesh in the east, and we have Marathi in the west. So we've brought together these voices that even our own people are saying they did not know, were not aware of, and are to be celebrated. We really hope that you will come join us in this walk that we walk together over the next 4 days, whether you choose to dip in and out or whether you stay to discover the untold treasures that we bring before you. We hope you will join us on this marvelous journey. Thank you. Shri Ravi Shankar, Gurudev Ji, may I invite you to come and inaugurate the festival by addressing us now.
Namaskar to everybody. I'm very happy to learn that in this time, the COVID anxiety across the globe, the poets are coming together and share their wisdom, share their creativity, their knowledge with the people of the world. When I was 16, that is when I wrote my first book in Canada, poems in Canada, because as a teenager, my association was with Dr. Gopal Krishna Adiga. His son was my classmate and my friend, very close friend. So we used to go to his home. Dr. Gopal Krishna Adiga was a revolutionary Navya Kavya, means the new poetry tradition was in fact started by him. And so my first book, I was very crazy to publish something at that age, you know, when I was 16. So we wrote some 22 poems together, and we came together. And then, see, in this country, all the wisdoms were passed on from generation to generation through poems. The only materia medica in the whole world that is in poetry form is from India. If you see the Ayurvedic text, it is not in prose. All the Ayurvedic texts are in form of poetry. All the knowledge about architecture, the Vastu, they are all in poetry forms. And then the rules and regulations that the kings would have to follow, they are all in poetry forms. So we are sort of very fond of poetry in this country, and the advantage of this is it is easy to memorize the poetries. Then the prose. So knowledge can very well set in the minds and hearts of people when they come in the poetry form. Can you imagine just giving you wellness notes? In Sanskrit they have given very nicely how to drink water, when should you drink water, and drinking water, what is the impact of it before food or after food. They say if you have water before Bhojanagre va aushadam vari, Bhojana madhye jirnadam vari, Bhojanante vishapradam. So these are the rhymes and the poems that indicate the wellness, and even medicines. They talk about medicines. You know, poetry comes from a state of consciousness, and this state of consciousness has to be very integrated. It has to have its focus and free from prejudice. When the mind is clogged with prejudice, then we don't see reality, and you will see that then your words don't flow as naturally as you would want them to be. In this planet, we have many different type of prejudice. What you just mentioned about what is happening with the racial prejudice in America, or the prejudice, gender prejudice that we find, or prejudice against the LGBT communities, prejudice against communism or capitalism, all isms. These different type of prejudice should be done away with. You know, I have faced many prejudice myself also. Because I have a beard and I dress differently, I often remember Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar when he was not given an entry into Calcutta's he was a great poet of our country, great author. But then he had to borrow somebody's coat and dressed up and go differently, and he wrote about it. So even though we call ourselves intelligent, educated, we carry many type of prejudice in our mind. We should do away with this, number one. Second, poetry is a way of uniting people, a way of bringing values to society, a way of encouraging people to come out of their tough situation or depressive situation which people are getting into these days. So poems can help. The music is such an integral part of human life, and poetry is only one step towards music. Every individual first sings and then starts speaking. We have all come to this planet singing, of course crying and then singing. But this singing later on became, talking. We started talking much later. First we sing, every kid sings. So music should be inculcated, and innovative ideas should be brought to our young people. They should be encouraged to write poetry. In spirituality also, spiritual realm means it's all full of poems. Poems of how to live life, how to manage different situations. If you see our entire civilization, not just in this country but elsewhere in the world, our civilizations are based on poetry, based on music. And this need to be given a new look today, where we can find ourselves in a violence-free society, disease-free body, quiver-free breath, confusion-free mind, inhibition-free intellect, trauma-free memory, and sorrow-free soul. This goal of human endeavor has to be encouraged. Many of the poetries, like we have the poems of Dr. D.V.G., Mankuti Manakagga, they are all just couplets, and these couplets have such depth in them and helps people in testing times. The whole human psychology is being condensed in the poem forms. So this type of writing should be promoted, and here again we should look into that. See, Kabir Das has written in Hindi, Mirabai has written many verses in Karnataka. So Sarvagnya Vachanas, they are all just 3 lines, and those 3 lines have so much of message, of encouragement, of empowerment for the society. So this is something I would like to say. One small poetry that we have said: the journey has begun, don't move an inch, just be where you are, the journey has begun. This is a short poem in English I wrote several years back. Where are you going to seek something? Just stay where you are, look within, and you find what you are looking for. The journey has begun. It makes such a sense. Don't move an inch. The journey has begun. Okay, I'll see one more small poem. Prayer within breath is silence. Love with the infinity is silence. Wisdom without words is silence. Compassion without aim is silence. Action without doer is silence. Smiling with all existence is silence. So I wish you all a great festival. You have many great speakers. Enjoy their speeches. And again I tell you, let's unite people. Let us not bring division of culprit and victim consciousness, or a sense of deprivation to any section of our society. Let's all come together to create harmony, to create joy and happiness in this strife-torn world. All the best to everybody. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Sri Ravi Shankar ji. It was a great privilege that this festival has been opened by your grace and presence. And we are honored that you have taken the time out of your busy schedule to be with all of us today. Your grasp of Sanskrit verses is well known, and your explanation of the deepest and most profound philosophy from our ancient texts has made this knowledge accessible to millions all over the world. And even today, I was amazed that at 16, you brought out a book of poems. So you are a very apt person to open our poetry festival, and having you will ensure the grand success of this beautifully curated Glass House Poetry Festival. So on behalf of Art Mantram Trust, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to you for accepting to inaugurate this rarest of rare festival of poetry. Thank you, Sri Ravi Shankar ji, for this great privilege. Thank you very much.